the deck to do it, but it's still not going to be easy.
If Chris Andersen goes land Nettle Sentinel, he can win as early as the second turn.
That's right.
So very possible that Chris just explodes onto the.
So it looks like Rudy won the die roll, and he's going to lead off with an Inquisition of Kozilek off of an Underground Sea.
Yep.
Chris reveals Glimpse of Nature, Verdant Catacombs Glimpse of Nature, Forest, Findhorn Elf, Heritage Druid, Forest.
Very good hand there for Chris.
Yep.
Few things missing, but the fact that he has double glimpse means he's protected against a lot of discard. And
the first thing that you want to take is the Findhorn Elf here. Slows Chris's plan way down.
I think you take Heritage Druid, actually. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've played a lot of elves.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Rudy does have. Oh, wow. Well, then you'll be much better to handle this commentary than I am. Rudy has a Swords to Plowshares in his hand, as well as a Stoneforge Mystic. And it's going to be the Heritage Druid. So, Rudy and Jacob overruling me there. Priest of Titania draw for Chris Andersen. Very
nice.
Strong draw. That card in addition to the deck, not in addition to the deck, but a re-addition to the deck, mostly to combat the Show and Tell decks. It's a good thing to put into play off of a Show and Tell. You can basically
untap and win.
Untap and win.
Yeah, Chris is able to find a Wirewood Symbiote. He has a hand that's capable of winning on the third turn. So if he gets a Green Sun Zenith or a Symbiote, both of which he's playing 4 of.
So Stoneforge Mystic from Rudy, pretty standard.
A third Glimpse for Chris Andersen. Is going to continue hitting his land drops all the way till turn 3, something you don't really see elves do that often.
So this is just going to be a 1 mana Glimpse, or a 1 creature Glimpse.
Just cycling the Glimpse.
Crop Rotation.
And Crop Rotation can go and find Chris his Gaea's Cradle. So
he has 2 great Gaea's Cradle. He also has a Pendelhaven. I'm not sure if that's going to be that relevant in this matchup, but certainly in Rug Delver, that's a very powerful play.
It's a huge one. The ability to make any of your guys into a 2/3, it really lets you battle a lot better than you could otherwise.
Yep, counters Forked Bolts, very good against Nimble Mongoose early in the game, which is pretty much the only part of the game there is. So Chris is going to reveal 2 Glimpse of Natures and a Crop Rotation, as well as a Fetch land.
Yeah, now this is interesting. Chris, after that Thoughtseize, only has 1 Glimpse remaining in his deck, so this last Glimpse has a lot of value. He's going to have to try to get the most out of it. Fortunately for him, he doesn't have many guys, so and he's a little bit flooded too.
That's right.
So Crop Rotation's just about the worst card Chris could have drawn there.
Swords to Plowshares on Priest of Titania for Rudy.
And Chris here really wants a Symbiote here.
He gets
Instead finds a Pendelhaven. Not really what he's looking for.
Yeah, getting very flooded here. With only 17 lands in the deck, it's pretty tough to get flooded. 17 lands and a Crop Rotation.
He did keep a 3-land hand,
but typically when you keep a 3-land hand, you don't see any more for the rest of the game.
That's true. When playing elves, that's how it goes a lot of the time. Now Rudy is getting pretty close to having an active Jit, which is pretty tough to beat if you're an elf player.
Huge in this matchup. Although he did search for the Batterskull, I believe. If I was paying attention. Oh, no, did he search for the Batterskull, or did he draw the Batterskull?
If he searched for the Batterskull, it was only because he already had the Jit.
Right. In any case, he has both of those cards in his hand. The Jit, of course, in this matchup, significantly better.
All right, so yeah, Rudy going to drop the Batterskull into play right away. And
he has the land to be able to play and equip Jit onto either the Batterskull or the Stoneforge Mystic.
Chris cracking this fetch land here. Wonder what he has. Doesn't really look like there's
this could
anything
go and get
he
a
could
Dryad
do.
Arbor in order to chump block, which it will.
Yeah, but
This will force Rudy to use one of the counters at least to try to kill the Findhorn Elf, which he can save with the Pendelhaven. Oh, he's going to block and Crop Rotate. I see. Wow,
Crop Rotation is an instant.
Crop rotation is an instant, so damage will not be dealt, so Umezawa's Jite does not get counters.
Very nice play there by Chris Andersen.
Yep. That's why he's the elf master and I'm not.
Yes. When I played the deck, it was extended, so...
So you didn't have access to crop rotation
did not have
or
crop
Gaia's
rotations
Cradle.
or cradles in my deck.
Did you have Dryad Arbor yet?
We had Dryad Arbor, we
it?
didn't play it
Okay.
because it's not very good in that version.
Yeah.
It's good when you have Cradle.
Green Sun Zenith here for Chris Andersen. So he has some options, I suppose. It's still going to be pretty tough to come back from a Jit.
Yep, Chris Andersen going to Green Sun Zenith for 1, and we expect him to find a symbiote here.
Yes. This will also allow him to block without using damage, which will not allow Rudy to get counters or gain any life.
Yep. So,
here's a shot of Chris Andersen.
Good grab by Chris there. Now, if Chris does have the symbiote now, next turn he'll be able to block, bounce to find the Batterskull Germ token with Fyndhorn Elves, return that Fyndhorn Elves back to his hand before damage resolves, before there's damage, so he can battle the Jit in that way. Then on his turn, if he top decks another creature, preferably a Visionary, then he can try to go off.
Yep. Now this is a pretty good plan from Chris. This is basically going to fog and thwart Rudy's efforts thus far, but it's not all bad for Rudy. Obviously, it's very good for Rudy. He also has Lingering Souls in hand, if he so chooses. He's going to scry away the 2 cards he put on top with Brainstorm, find a Jace.
Let's
And
see.
Rudy is going to just battle with...
quite good, actually.
There's Wirewood Symbiote. It's a 1/1 insect. Return an elf you control to its owner's hand. Untap target creature. Play this ability only once each turn. Pretty key part of the elf plan. Allows him to combo off in a couple of different ways. Either mini combos or infinite combos to be able to draw lots of cards with Glimpse of Nature, or make a infinitely large mirror or arbitrarily large mirror entity team.
Yes. Now, that Birchler Ranger going to really help Chris here, especially if he's able to find a Nettle Sentinel in his top however many cards he can get deep off the Cradle activation.
So Spell Pierce on Glimpse of Nature.
Chris likely tapping Pendelhaven and Forest to pay for that.
I would imagine so. Yep, there it is. Not a lot of things to Spell Pierce in this matchup.
No, I mean, Glimpse is the best you can get. Sometimes Green Suns are really... I guess you pretty much always Spell Pierce Green Sun when you can.
Yes. Birchler Rangers and Quirion Ranger. So...
That's not the worst.
That's not the worst at all.
Another Cradle, that is the worst.
Yeah, it is the worst. That's right. So he has the Birchler Ranger, which can be activated the turn it comes into play because it is a cost to be paid by tapping the creature, not a tap ability.
Yep.
Rudy reading Birchler Rangers for us. We will let you read it as well, just momentarily. There it is.
Birchler Rangers. It is a common from Onslaught. It has Morph, and you can tap 2 untapped elves you control to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. When using conjunction with Nettle Sentinel, for every 1 mana elf you produce, you get to produce 1 mana.
Yes.
So with
Nettle
Glimpse of
Sentinel
Nature, you
from
get to just
Shadowmoor.
draw through.
When it pops up, I'm sure
most
we'll
of your
put it
deck.
up on the screen. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with these old elves. I'm sure if you play more casual Magic, you're more likely to know what's going on. I have an elf EDH deck, so I know a lot of what's going on, but not a ton. Chris Andersen using the turn it upside down method of saying that it's been his one use for the turn, which I advocate a lot.
I also advocate that. I mean, that's awesome.
It certainly helps keep track of when things have been used. So Chris Andersen, this is a finite combo. This was just to draw 5 or 6 cards, try and get as many elves on the board as possible. Rudy still has the Jite. I'm a little surprised that Rudy didn't play the Lingering Souls and attempt to equip the Jite to a flyer to be able to get the Jite damage through. to start getting counters.
The Jace will, or can bounce the Heritage Druid, which will allow him to start getting Jit counters. And
it'll bounce the Symbiote.
Yeah, it's also fine, I guess. I mean,
it looks like he's bouncing the Symbiote. Oh, nope, he's bouncing the Heritage Druid, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, bouncing the Symbiote isn't the best because then Chris still has the Symbiote in hand and can... Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's precisely what it's supposed to do. Forgot about the Quirion Ranger.
Yep.
Chris able to return Heritage Druid back to his hand there.
And Rudy finally gets some counters on the Umezawa's Jite, deciding which pieces he wants to knock out of the Elf engine.
Brian Brown-Dewan, please report to the invitational.
It looks like he's looking at the Quirion Ranger. Perhaps all for now, maybe another Birchlore Ranger.
Huh. So it took the one Birchlore Ranger does the same thing as two Birchlore Rangers.
Yes.
So a little surprising that he took the second Birchlore Ranger there. I think I just let it sit and
wait until he plays the Symbiote again.
Yeah.
Symbiote is the key cog in the Elf machine, especially because it can't be responded to by Quirion Ranger's Return an Elf to Your Hand ability. Yet another glimpse of nature for Chris. He's going to get a lot of value off of this.
Yeah, this is he almost there's a very good chance that he wins right now.
Yes, and if not this turn, he will have an overwhelming board presence that a Jite and a Batterskull simply cannot come back from.
Please come up to the Legacy Open stage.
Yeah, so a few different options now.
Number 2, top 4 players. Please assemble.
Rudy's counting Glimpse of Natures,
Your matches.
I imagine,
Draft
or seeing what
number
else is
2,
left in
top
Chris's
4
deck in
players,
one way or another. I
please
think it was to
assemble.
see how many glimpses he had. No Nettle Sentinels just yet. He does have an Elvish Visionary, which is going to draw a lot of cards.
Yep, thinking about how he wants to go about his Heritage Druid, decides to just tap 2 Fenhorn Elves, cast Elvish Visionary.
Yeah, the fact that
Draw
Chris
himself 2 cards.
drew another Glimpse and a Visionary after the 2 early discard spells, letting Chris continue to fuel the engine, was really unfortunate for Rudy.
Chris is going to make 3 mana now.
And now is when it starts to get out of hand. So Heritage Druid can add 3 mana, where Birchlore Rangers only adds the 1.
Yep. So going to continue comboing now. Next. Oh, so he's going to use the Cradle now.
Cradle taps for 7. There's a close-up of Heritage Druid. Morningtide uncommon. Tap 3 untapped elves you control. Add 3 green mana to your mana pool. And there's Quirion Ranger. Return a force you control to the owner's hand. Untap target creature. And you can use this ability only once each turn.
Yeah, so here on Chris's turn, he is able to tap the Geas Cradle once he has amassed a big enough army, and use the mana that he had floating. Still has 1 or 2 more mana floating, not exactly sure, but has put a Regal Force into play.
That's going to draw him 8 cards, fuel the combo even further.
Yeah, and he has more mana floating, so
yes,
this is not...
He has at least a Green Sun Zenith in hand. Counting his library to make sure he doesn't deck. Or drawing 8 cards, actually. That's what actually happened. Chris also has the Viridian Shaman in his hand. Also, if he so needs, which I don't imagine he will. Nettle Sentinel. So now the engine is in full gear here. 2 Nettle Sentinels. Now it's in overdrive. Nettle Sentinel,
and with that Birchlore Ranger and the 2 Nettle Sentinels.
And the Heritage Druid as well.
Yeah, once he has another elf, which he does now because of the Viridian Shaman, he essentially can just draw his whole deck right now.
Yes. Nettle Sentinel, if you saw it up on the screen there, common from Shadowmoor. Untaps every time you play a green spell, and it's an elf, so it fuels the engine quite nicely.
Yeah, and it's a 2/2 for 1 mana, so
yeah.
One of the things about elves is that a lot of the time you need to get scrappy. I I'd say you win about half your games by actually comboing, and half of your games because your opponent is not doing anything because they want to stop you from comboing, and you're just attacking them with 1/1s and handle having.
Yes. Most games often, after they win the combo away game 1, oftentimes it's just a battle of trying to stick a couple elves after your opponent's sideboard in all of their single eliminations. Most of them don't have sweepers like Rudy has in their sideboard. So you'll go for the throats and swords for plowshares for elves until you can get 3 or 4 guys on the board. Beat them for 5 or 6 every turn, maybe even 4 every turn. And that's just enough of a clock after people have clogged their hands with 1-for-1 elimination, and they can just attack them for normal damage. So there's Mirror Entity, which is the end part of the combo there. The combo revolving around Mirror Entity, Wirewood Symbiote, and Heritage Druid.
Yes, precisely. Mirror Entity is Chris's win condition. I haven't seen Chris using the Mirror Entity win condition, but I like that a lot. I think it's generally better than a Miracle in this type of deck, especially right now. It can also just steal a lot of games. Like, you can just cast a Mirror Entity against a lot of these decks that don't play spot removal anymore, and then next time you untap, you just activate your Mirror Entity and you win.
Yes.
Mirror Entity is also an elf, so when used in combination with Wirewood Symbiote, you can draw your entire deck because you can make your Wirewood Symbiote into an elf repeatedly,
yes,
returning it to your hand and then
replaying casting it again and resetting the once per turn ability on it.
Yes. And that interaction costs 2 mana, and you can create 2 to 3 mana per turn with your Nettle Sentinels.
And if you have a Glimpse active, then that lets you draw a card for each of those cards, or each time that you've activated that ability. Also, if you have enough mana, you can and don't have a Glimpse active, you can throw Elvish Visionary into the mix.
Yes, and Elvish Visionary will allow you to draw your whole deck also. Now, a quick look at the sideboard here. Chris Andersen post board has not much for this matchup. A Gaddock Teague?
I'm not sure he needs much for this matchup. Yeah, Gaddock Teague looks like about it. It's possible he could play Thorn of Amethyst. I would doubt it. But, he has one Quasali Pride Mage. If he feels the need to add something to the deck, I don't think he'll change too much.
But Pride Mage is obviously, good at dealing with the Jitte.
Yes. Most of his sideboard is devoted to dealing with Reanimator, other combo decks, and Rug Delver. He has Fairy Macabres for Dredge. He has Meekstone for Rug Delver. So he's not too worried about these sort of mid-rangey decks like Rudy's playing. Rudy, on the other hand, has an Engineered Explosives in the board, which will likely come in, as will Perish, Massacre, and Terminus.
Yeah, Perish, obviously, the best thing you can do here.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's kind of a misconception about elves that you can just, kill their one combo piece and then you're good. The problem is that just about everything is a combo piece with everything here, and the deck can just Regal Force out of nowhere, and at that point it just draws a ton of cards, and that's what we saw happen there with Chris. Chris had the Cradle in play and was able to just get enough guys on the board so that his Cradle could Zenith up with Regal Force.
Yeah, once he was able
once you do that, you're fine.
Once he was able to deal with the Batterskull that had a Jitte on it, things got real awkward. The deft Dryad Arbor fetch into crop rotation into Gaia's Cradle, very key in that.
Yeah, very well played by Chris there.
Ah, right. Nettle Sentinel was not in Shadowmoor, it was an Eventide. My apologies. So, Rudy, not really set up to deal with elves very well. He does have Jitte, which is important, but, not favorable for him. So, Thoughtseize on turn 1 from Rudy is going to reveal a hand of Green Sun Zenith, Heritage Druid, looks like
a Symbiote.
Oh, is that a Symbiote?
Symbiote?
Okay.
Yeah, it's Wirewood Symbiote.
And then 3 fetch lands and a Gaia's Cradle, so another big land.
I do not like
for
this
Chris.
keep, actually, by Chris.
Yeah, I agree.
especially when your opponent's playing so much target spot removal. I mean,
He's going to take the
symbiote. That's fine. I mean, if you haven't played elves, it's not really obvious what the best thing to take is. But I think Green Sun Zenith is just the
Too
best
strong,
card here.
yeah. Green Sun Zenith represents another Wirewood symbiote, so I'm not sure exactly why he chose to do that. He did not play it on turn 1, and neither does he play a Heritage Druid. Instead, he plays a fetch land and passes. Rudy is going to go and get the Umezawa's Jite for his Stoneforge Mystic.
Makes sense.
I was telling Matthias yesterday, Stoneforge Mystic, probably one of the best core artificers ever printed.
I would say there's a very good chance that it's the best core artificer ever
It's
printed.
at least top 3.
Are there 3 core artificers?
Probably not. So Rudy's game plan, basically, of taking away the Wirewood symbiote. I mean, Chris did not have a turn 1 mana guy, so Chris's plan is sort of significantly slowed down.
Yeah, I mean, turn 1 Nettle Sentinel actually speeds up your speeds up going off more than a Llanowar Elf or Finhorn Elves, but I mean here he's just grabbing this Dryad Arbor. It combos well with his Cradle, essentially kind of acting as 2 mana for 1 card. So the fact that he got the Dryad Arbor kind of acts as a pseudo Llanowar Elf that he didn't have to spend a card on.
Yes, and he still keeps his Green Sun Zenith. He does not mana accelerate, although against a slow deck like Rudy's, I suppose the acceleration aspect is less important, but...
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to end up setting himself behind because, like, Rudy's deck does pack Path to Exile, and I think it has, Swords to Plowshares.
It may have
and,
Path in the sideboard, I didn't look. No, it does not.
No, yeah, so
But he has Board Sweepers in Perish and Massacre. So,
Visionary getting forced here by Rudy. And looks like Rudy's going to be able to do pretty well here.
wow, he's got 2 Swords to Plowshares and an Umezawa's Jite in hand. Pretty much the perfect setup against Elves after forcing the Visionary that was cast off of the Gaia's Cradle once Dryad Arbor tapped to put a Birchlar Ranger into play. Path to Exile from Rudy. Passing the turn.
And you may be wondering, well, Stoneforge Mystic's ability costs 2, and Umezawa's Jite costs 2. Why not just get the free point of damage by attacking the Stoneforge Mystic? But Rudy correctly assesses that Chris Andersen's deck has access to Viridian Shaman, and as a result, he'd rather put his Jite in at instant speed and attempt to countersign.
Yeah. This also gives him the opportunity to path something at instant speed for Chris. Chris has a lot of mana now. I think he drew another fetch land.
Jeez, he's drawn a lot of lands
He
with this
sure
deck.
has.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably only playing 16 or 17.
Yep. Rudy does have another
17,
Swords to
but-
Plowshares in hand to make another elf a farmer. Many elves already farmers in real life, but when they can sometimes enter battles. This one's sending them for forever, basically.
Yeah, Swords to Plowshares, one of my favorite cards ever. I mean, the flavor on that card's
Yeah.
really good. One of
It
the
is.
original cards. And
It doesn't destroy it, it just makes it a farmer. You know what, I think I'd rather spend my days tilling fields than attacking and blocking. Heritage Druid for Chris Andersen. This allows the Gaia's Cradle to tap for 2 mana.
Yep. So, 3 mana right now.
2 mana right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
2 mana right now, so this is a Green Sun Zenith for 1. Rudy is going to search his library for a basic land, or not a basic land, a land of his choosing. Could have been a basic. Possibly to Swords the Heritage Druid?
Yeah, so
Yes.
Heritage Druid getting plowed here. Green Sun Zenith was going to find a Nettle Sentinel, but still in the stack. Chris can decide what he wants. He may want a Nettle Sentinel. It's either Nettle Sentinel or Symbiote. The fact that his opponent has, Symbiote. The fact that his opponent has the Jite makes Symbiote probably trump Nettle Sentinel in that spot. But Nettle Sentinel would let Chris go off next turn if he was able to top deck a Glimpse and Rudy didn't have much.
And there's another Heritage Druid for Chris. Very resilient, this elf deck. Surprisingly so, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of angles.
Miss Chite is going to attempt to get counters on it, but that's not going to happen. As Chris pretty much doing the blocking trick with Wirewood Symbiote before Rudy can even get his land. They're both on the same level there because, he had done it before. Glimpse of Nature for Chris now, so instead of not losing the game, perhaps Chris can now try to win the game.
Yes. So he's going to draw a card off his Heritage Druid. Going to get at least one more draw, but he's hoping for more than that.
Yep. Land for Chris. Let's spin the wheel, see what we got. It is an Elvish Visionary. That's a very good one.
It is a very good one. 2 cards deeper.
That's probably going to kickstart the end of the game here. 2 cards, very unlikely to miss, I would imagine. Especially with so many of Chris's lands out of the deck already. 4 in play, 3 fetch lands in the graveyard, leaves only 10 left in the deck. I don't see Chris fizzling here very often, percentage-wise.
Stranger things have happened, though.
That's true. Rudy is hellbent. There's no disruption forthcoming. So Chris is able to do as he pleases here. And they are at least 1 creature. That is not an elf, though. He's going to get another redraw on his Elvish Visionary, though. And there's an elf.
Alright,
So we're going to tap 3 elves.
making 3 mana here for Chris, then going to float that 3 mana, return Visionary back to hand,
Yep.
replay Visionary, tapping Find Herd Elves, untap Find Herd Elves, return Visionary, Visionary, draw a card, draw
That's a
card.
Green Sun Zenith and a Priest of Titania. I think it's all over but the shouting here for Chris. He did not draw another 1 mana elf, which is a little, not even that awkward. It's just a little unfortunate for him because he could have continued to play elves for the Heritage Druid. Now he'll have to play 2 2-mana elves or 1 2-mana elf to continue to Heritage Druid instead of having the option of playing just 1. Elves is a very tricky combo deck to learn and to play, and to commentate on, but more difficult to learn and to play.
It's a tough deck. It's a really fun deck, though.
Yeah,
If
there's
you want
lots
to pick
of
up
very neat interactions.
a somewhat inexpensive Legacy deck and be able to compete, make your way into multiple top 8s, you should really learn Elves. It's a
Absolutely.
deck that's really resilient, somewhat timeless.
Very fun, not very weak to Force of Will at all. The
Yeah.
most expensive in the deck, most expensive cards in the deck are the lands. As you can see, Gaia's Cradle and Savannah.
Cradle actually worth a lot now.
Yeah, it's worth almost $200, I believe.
No.
Right?
Kiss
I believe so. It's worth almost, well, it's worth a lot. It's the most expensive card in the deck, one way or another.
More than Savannah?
More than Savannah.
Cradle. Wow.
But the rest of the cards in the deck more than make up for it. Commons and uncommons abound. Green Sun Zenith, the only rare non-land card, which we see cast here by Andersen.
Alright, so Green Sun Zenith. Probably at this rate grabbing a Nettle Sentinel. Oh, yeah. Kill legit.
Right?
That seems a little better than a Nettle Sentinel.
So Chris deciding that he doesn't have to go off this turn. He's just going to neuter Rudy's plan.
Yeah, I mean, he already activated both of his symbiotes. It's-
Yeah. Already activated both symbiotes. Rudy is hellbent. Non-foil Gaia's Cradles are about $65. Foil ones are $200. Okay. Sorry about that. My financial expert Mark Sun chiming in there. So yeah, if you wanted foil ones, I suppose they'd be the most expensive card in the deck. So that's my mistake.
That
Still,
card is
that's even more to the point. It's a very cheap,
it's an
inexpensive
deck,
to pick up.
especially for Legacy. And Cradle's another card that, even though Gears Cradle is very expensive, it's a card that will be very easy to borrow, especially if you have friends who've been playing the game for a long time.
Priest of Titania for Chris Andersen.
Yeah, continuing
Urza's
cantrip.
Saga Common. He's going to tap it the turn it comes into play with Heritage Druid's ability in order to make a bunch of mana, returning the Visionary, continuing the chain. This turn, of course, there is not a glimpse. Is there? Is there a glimpse happening right now? Oh, there is
yes,
a glimpse
there is.
happening. Must have been a second glimpse, I think.
Yeah, it was. Right at the beginning of this turn, he glimpsed. So, Cradle for a whole bunch.
For 8, which is going to go get Regal Force to draw 9. No, going to draw 10.
Yeah, wow.
No, 9. Just 9. Just 9.
Just 9, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because clearly that extra card was going to matter.
It's only like activating Grizzlebrand 1 and 2/7 times. All right.
And not having to pay the life for it. Who needs Grizzlebrand when you can draw cards off of Regal Force? Chris with a nice riffle of his hand. Getting the nice snap of the card sound. Here's a Nettle Sentinel.
Pretty good.
So here's another glimpse. So, should he so choose, he can definitely just completely go off, which I imagine is what he's going to do. Until he finds the mirror entity. There's another Nettle Sentinel. Playing under multiple glimpses is sometimes very dangerous because it is not a may. You have to draw the card if you trigger it.
You can get close to decking yourself a lot of the time.
A fact of which I'm sure Chris Andersen is well aware of. He plays the mirror entity, and Rudy decides that's enough. I've seen enough green dudes come stomping into play, and
Yeah.
Chris Andersen is going to win our Legacy feature match in round 7, 2 games to none over Rudy Bazinga Briksza.